Viaplay Group.
Let's do this.
The challenger. Go! The dreamer. The binge-worthy streamer.
Busted.
We are Blockbuster. Pedal-stomping, star-studded films.
It's time!
Fully loaded. Hot dog stuffing. Outright screaming comedy. To award-winning originals. And chilling Nordic noir.
Hello?
So hold your seat. With live sport here, and here. We are 142 million minutes of
Making beautiful. Pregnant.
business.
What took you so long?
11 countries proud, with more countries to follow.
This is my world.
Of course.
Of course. Because we are Viaplay Group.
That was your dramatic entrance. So, my name is Nicole Östman. I am product manager at Viaplay. As Ben said, yes, I do have 20 years experience working with UX and research and design. So, the last 4 years, I've been working as a product manager, which is kind of a nice segue going into this role because I feel like understanding the user makes a lot more sense for me to be able to focus on the user experience as a product manager. And today I want to talk to you about something that I'm very passionate about, which is personal recommendations and how we solve that at Viaplay. So, beginning with expectations, and I think it's been mentioned several times before already, but as you can see here, expectations is something that I've been following over the years because of my user research, and what I've been seeing is that the majority of users have expectations, but then there's this huge gray zone of understanding how it works. They just expect it to happen for them. And whether it be over time, you see different products introduce this type of personalization for them, whether it be in streaming services or ads, or even in social media, they have an expectation. So this puts a lot of pressure on all of us to understand how that we can present personalized experience for them. And there's a lot of expectations that they say that they think that we do, but we can't actually do. Mostly based on GDPR and consent, there's a lot of things that we actually cannot do. So if a user doesn't actually accept the fact that they want personalized recommendations, then that limits us to be able to recommend for them. So, let's talk a little bit about our Netherlands launch. On the 1st of May, we were able to, March, we were able to launch Viaplay into the Netherlands. And this is where we introduced, obviously, live sports, and we had our own Viaplay originals. We had acquired films and series, and also kids' content. But what we did was we aligned this with the Formula One launch. This is a very strategic thing that we wanted to do to make sure that we could get in enough customers as possible. And we realized during our pre-launch sales was that the majority of these users were buying sports packages. So for us, we wanted to make sure that not only were they seeing sports content, but we wanted to find a way to make sure that they were watching other types of content. So this poses as a challenge for us when it comes to personalization. Entering a new market that are not familiar with us, we're also introducing Nordic noir. They don't recognize maybe our actors or directors, so it is a huge challenge for us, of course. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what collaborative filtering is, and this is what our data science team has created for us. It is an applied machine learning data model, which is basically what is required is active viewing plus time equals personalization. So when you have any type of new user, let's say you have new person A or new person B, they have nothing to base on for the data model to follow. So it's very difficult for our model to give them any type of personal recommendations, because how it works is if you have person A and person B are watching similar content, what we try to do is try to match them and be able to recommend something for them to watch. So the likelihood is a lot higher that we could find something that is actually something that we can predict they would want. So if we don't have any data, what do? This poses as a huge challenge for us. So we're entering a new market, we have a completely new user base, they don't know our content, they don't know who we are a new brand. So this poses a huge challenge. So what we did is we looked at this as an opportunity. And On launch day, we split all of the new users into 3 segment groups. And we took the whole start page and we started each user experience with either curated only, which our curation team were able to create an entire just view from the start page for these users. And then we had segment 2, popularity based, which was within the Netherlands only. So all the popularity viewing numbers were based on within Netherlands. And then we had segment 3, which was recommendations, but that was based off of our Nordic model. Like we took a model that we already had all the data for the same content, and we tried to apply it to the Netherlands. So between product and data science team, we had our hypothesis, right? We thought, we assumed that certain ones would win better than the other. What happened was, over time, everyone started with a curated view. But over time, it started to, of course, change. The recommendation models start to take place and the popularity scores start to take place here. I was not surprised that popularity was actually the winner in this actual test, because what we were basing it off of, the assumption that the Nordic model, the data model, would be applicable to a new market. But how would that work if they don't know the content? Very difficult. So when you treat the market as an individual and base it off of the popularity scores, then you can obviously try to recommend better content that way. So because this is based off time, we need active viewing, and the more viewing that we get, then we can replace this model with the recommendations. And I think that'll be done within the end of the year. So we are all about continuous validation. We're always doing research, we're also doing development and testing, we're trying to find out more about the markets, we're trying to find out the pain points in the individual level, on the profile level, trying to understanding how we could do continuous testing at the same time. We have several teams that are doing tests, multiple tests at the same time. And this is allowing us to be able to gather intel while we develop. Highly recommend. We find missing segments. How do you do that? You do that through research. When we're trying to validate our hypothesis all the time. And the important thing with a hypothesis is it has to be provable wrong. You have to be able to take ego out of it, and you have to be willing to accept that I might be wrong about this, which I think the data science team was a little disappointed with because they were certain that the machine learning model was going to win, but it didn't. So you have to be willing to go, aha, okay, I get it, and roll with it, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for you to push your opinion or your viewpoint on top of every single market or every single viewer. So this is very important. And when it comes to the data model itself, you have to have metadata. And as you know, there's so much metadata out there. How do you know what kind of metadata that you need to add to the data model so that it can improve recommendations? So one research that we did, which I was a part of this time last year, we took 6 months and we talked to different people with different backgrounds, different religions, different races, different genders, everything. And we wanted to understand, is there a correlation between your background or personal identity and what you choose to watch? My hypothesis was that I think that it goes a lot deeper. I think that people want to connect to the content that they watch. So choice, is it based off race, culture, nationality, religion, gender, sexuality? All of these things, does it play a factor? And what we realize is that it actually does make a huge impact in what people are actually choosing to watch. So what does this mean? It means that we need to get better at finding metadata that matches the content. And luckily, we have that data, thanks to GraceNote. And the fact that Nielsen has already added all of these tags to the content, we are able to then start adding that data to the data model and start recommending for our viewers. So it's very important that we understand that if you want to attract new segments, if you think that you're maybe feeding the snake its own tail, which I like to say, you're basically feeding your own segment. And if you're only feeding that segment, you could be alienating a whole lot of other segments out there that could be possible consumers. So you're actually being able to add this metadata. You can attract new types of segments and go, aha, I didn't realize you had that type of content. What a great product. I'm going to sign up for that. But they wouldn't have known that had you not added that to maybe an attract start page and say, hey, we have this type of content as well. So this is good news for us because as we expand and we go into new markets, we want to understand the market itself. Can we apply recommendations in the same way that we always have? No, we learned from this. As you can see here, we're going to be launching in the UK next. We're already existing in 11 countries, and we're going to continue to grow. So it's really important that we treat each market individually and we think, okay, we can do this, but we just have to treat everyone as their own. Thank you.